Show. We are your Quad City Sports Talk radio show. Welcome to the conversation, Quad Cities. But first, the Dawn. Well, good afternoon, Quad Cities. It is noon on Monday, August 23rd, 2021. Here in the Hassel Castle, brought to you by the R Bar in Davenport on Utica. Never fear, though, out there. I know you're listening and worried and watching on the Facebook Live and thinking, oh, boy, he's solo. Yeah, that's right, I'm solo, but never fear. I'm going to talk to some people on the phone as well. And Adrian's busy, Merrick was busy, T-Roy's busy, which is fine. Everyone's busy. It's the first day back to school. They got to take their photos. They got to post on social media. They got to prove that their kid actually goes to school. So everyone's busy today. That's fine. I'm not. I'm here for you. A wild weekend to go over, and there's a lot to break down as far as sports entertainment goes, because it really depends on where you fall on certain things. The Northern Trust Open just teed off at 10:30 today. That got postponed. The golf, obviously the PGA got postponed because of the hurricane elements. So we won't have a champion until sometime later this afternoon. That's a little goofy. We had preseason football this week that we get a look at. We get a look at some winners and losers of that. Heck, we can look at winners and losers the entire weekend. We're going to look at Major League Baseball a little bit here today and talk about tanking. More importantly, what the owners are trying to talk about is making a salary cap minimum of $100 million for Major League Baseball teams. So that's some of the things we'll be talking about as well. And, getting ready for fantasy football. But like I said, we'll have a phone call. The most important thing also is to think about this week. Tomorrow, for those out there who are interested in the Big Ten football, most importantly, the over-unders of total wins for each team in the Big Ten. We're going to have Tom Kakert in studio with us from Hawkeye Report. We do this every year. We look at each team in the Big Ten, and we look at their over-unders, and we either see if we co-sign on over-under season wins for those teams, or we look at why we disagree. Tom's really good at it. I'm decent, so I'm not going to toot my own horn, but if you're going to listen to anybody, listen to Tom Kakert, because he covers everybody on the for the Hawkeye Report in the Big Ten. And then on Wednesday, Emily Van Buskirk's going to be back. She'll be not in studio, though, but she'll be on the phone, and we're going to talk to her because she has her schedule down. Now, if you're familiar with the show, Emily is what we consider our college football reporter. She lives out in California, but she travels all over. She writes for Yardbarker. She has her own podcast, Sideline Sass. Check it out wherever you download podcasts. But she has made a schedule together for this year, and she knows where she's going now, and she released it on her Sideline Sass podcast. And I'm not going to play a spoiler. You go listen to that if you want to, or you listen on Wednesday. She'll tell us where to be. Fingers crossed, everybody out there, that she's coming to Iowa City. So we'll find out about that on Wednesday. And also, she's going to give us the over-unders for the Pac-12 as well. And who to focus on winning if you're doing futures at Elite Sportsbook. Who to focus on winning the north of the Pac-12, the south of the Pac-12, and who to win it outright. So there's a lot of gambling questions and a lot of, who's going to win the starting job type of thing, and how is Iowa going to look when we talk to Tom, and different questions that we can have for Emily. That'll be on Wednesday. Tom will be on Tuesday, so we're very excited about that. Let's just take a look at some things around the sports world that happened over the weekend. Like I said, the Northern Trust Open, Hurricane Henry put a little damper in the final round, and they teed off today at 10:30. So this is the second round of the FedEx Cup playoffs. This is the first round, sorry. The second round is going to be in Maryland, which is not too far from where they're playing in New Jersey. So travel plans aren't going to be impacted very much if they play today to get to Maryland, but really what you need to pay attention to is the weather that's going to happen anywhere in Maryland. The U.S. Open champion John Rahm and Cam Smith are currently the co-leaders on the leaderboard at the Northern Trust Open. Rahm, who is currently shooting -16, was in the lead before Smith shot a course record 60 on Saturday. So for those who are paying attention to that, you could probably still go to Elite Sportsbook and get matchups and get future wagers, or today wagers, if you will. Over the weekend, and if you go back to when we did our Major League Baseball preview, we said that Miguel Cabrera could possibly join the 500 home run club this season, and he wasn't too far away. I said he wouldn't do it before August. I think I said 13th. That was before the season, and he did it this weekend. So he did it yesterday, actually. So that would have been August 22nd. So if you were betting the over/under on that, I would have nailed that. So he joins a list of 27 other home run hitters that have hit 500 in their career. So the thing is the decline is the one that you need to be worried about. Through 2016, he had hit 446 home runs and looked like he would be on the verge of 500 within 2 seasons, maybe one if he had a good season. But that didn't happen. He just hit 29 over the next 3 seasons. But he's no matter what, we're not going to deny that he's not a talented hitter. All right, so he could also join a list of players that that have hit 500 home runs and have hit 3,000 hits in their career. Let's see. He's 45 hits away from becoming the 7th player with 500 home runs and 3,000 hits. He'd join Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Eddie Murray, Rafael Palmeiro, Alex Rodriguez, and Albert Pujols. So, right now he has a career batting average of .311. Only 4 members of the 500 home run club have a higher batting average than that, career batting average. Ted Williams had a .344, Babe Ruth .342, Jimmy Fox .325, and Manny Ramirez .312. Congratulations, Miguel Cabrera, excellent hitter. Completely, and I hated him in 2009 when the Twins and the Tigers had to go to a game 163. Talented hitter. He had a home run in that game, by the way, but the Twins won in extra innings. So there's a possibility looking forward to who's going to be our next 500 home run hitter. Let's just take a look at, let's see, the top 4 here. Right now, Nelson Cabrera is sitting at 443 home runs. He's 41 years old. The dude can rake. 57 in a season. Well, I mean, he'll still put some more on. Let's see how many he can probably get together before the end of this year. Let's say he gets to 450. Let's say he gets to 455. Let's say he gets to 455. I don't know if he's going to put 12 more out this year, but 45 in a season next year. He's probably going to have to do 2 more seasons, and let's face it, he can only play in half the league. So it's very possible, but who knows? Now, at age 30, Mike Trout has 310 home runs. I would assume we're saying definitely. I think everybody listening is nodding their head saying Trout will definitely be in a 500. But I've been reading some things lately, and some people are kind of coming across the, is he going to be injured? Is it going to be constantly dealing with injuries? Will he be like the next Ken Griffey Jr.? Just be awesome as can be, but never win a title? Just stuck in L.A.? That's the kind of the worry. He's just got to stay healthy. I would say that's it. This one I don't see coming. At 267 home runs and 31 years old, Freddie Freeman. That's a lot to ask for in probably 10 years. He's got to get a little spiked going on. That's if he can play 10 more years. I know what you're saying. That's averaging 25, just under 25 home runs a season for the next 10 years. But I don't know if that's really a possibility. So let's see. Cabrera just did 29 over the last 3 seasons. Do the math there. That's just over, let's see. Yeah, just under 10 a season. So we'll see about that. And then finally, Bryce Harper. He's 28 years old, 255 home runs. Same thing. He's got to play 10 years, and he's got to average 25 a year. He's got to play probably into his 40s. He's got up and down health issues, and I don't know. It just... being a Bryce Harper fan, it kills me to hear things like when we had Jimmy Siokas in here saying things like, he doesn't try out, he doesn't try hard, he doesn't run things out. I just really wish there was a turn for him that he could become a fan favorite, but I mean, that's not really what hits the home run. But I just would like to see more people appreciate the way that how good Bryce Harper can be. So, yeah, we had preseason over the weekend. I don't know if there's a lot to take away from. We saw that the Bears didn't look too good, and Trubisky kind of came in with a chip on his shoulder. So good for him, you know. He won the Biscuit Bowl. I said I'd take the Bears because they were going to need to cover, because they're going to not need to cover, but they were going to play their Dalton, and they were going to play Fields more, and because they kind of have a quarterback race, but it didn't go too well. Monday Night Football's tonight. It's going to be played at the Caesars Superdome. So this is the 2021 debut of Monday Night Football. The New Orleans Saints are going to play host the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we will see how that goes. I don't know the reports right now how much Trevor Lawrence is going to play, but it'd be good to see him, and it's good for him to be on the national spotlight as well. So we've got that going on. And finally, I mean, I don't know where you stand on this, and I don't really particularly care, but we're going to jump into this, and then I'll leave it out there, and then we'll go to break. After 7 years of not being in professional wrestling, Phil Brooks, a.k.a. CM Punk, came back to AEW Rampage on Friday night to one of the greatest pops promos I've heard in a long time. Transparency, I'm not a CM Punk guy. Merrick's been on here. I don't really care that he says he's the best wrestler in the world, but I will give it to him that he can cut a promo. This is a big deal because AEW makes themselves, like, the way that they sold out Chicago and the pop that was there. You couldn't even hear his music hit, which is Cult of Personality by Living Colour, song from the 80s. His promo was good. He said, you know, when he left Ring of Honor in, 2009, I don't even know, 2007, he said he cried because he knew he was leaving professional wrestling and going to the WWE. And when he did say, he's like, for those of you who have been gone for 7 years, have been asking me, you know, why don't you come back? Why don't you whatever? He said he couldn't go back to a place that gave him so much physical pain and mental pain as well, that it would be terrible for him to do. AEW comes calling, and he now says he's, you know, now 2021. I think it was like, I'm going to give you the dates wrong. It's just by days. It was like August 15th, 2000, let's just say 2009, he left. And then he says, I left professional wrestling. He says August 20th, 2021, I'm back in professional wrestling. It's a big deal because now you have the Wrestle Wars that started in 1996, when you had the guys jumping from WWE to WCW, and you had Hulk Hogan turn bad, and you had 83 weeks of a different professional wrestling program taking on the WWE and getting better ratings. It was, the promo was incredible. The crowd in Chicago was absolutely electric. He nailed it on all ends. He made his challenge out there to Darby Allin. Sting was there as well. It was just great, and it's going to put all the eyes on AEW on Wednesday as well, because he said he's going to be in Milwaukee on Wednesday, and their all out pay-per-view is in September, so September 5th, I believe. So it was a big win for them, and there might be people out there right now that are rolling their eyes and be like, oh, you know, like what T-Roy would say, wrestling fans are just a bunch of booger eaters. I'm sorry, if you're my age in 1996, 97, 98, you had that run about 2 to 3 years where you were watching on Monday nights, and it's going to be that way again now that you're going to have the Wrestle Wars. Now, WWE came back with SummerSlam on Saturday night, and they were not going to go out without a bang. All right? So they brought in Brock Lesnar, and they brought back Becky Lynch. 2 huge names, 2 huge pops, which makes it fun that they're going to go to pull out all the stops to try to make this thing, they're going to try to win. So thank you. DJ Jarvis says he left 2005 Ring of Honor. So, and he says that he's been blocked on Twitter. So if you can go back, you know what, I'll probably later on, I'll probably play the promo, but that he did, that CM Punk did. I don't know where this falls on the Mount Rushmore of events must-see for wrestling. This was brought up in a different show, and I didn't know if it was like up there with Hogan turning. I just don't know. I don't know how big it was, but I just know in a lull of a professional wrestling, this is what it's needed. All right, I'm going to take a break, and I'll be right back. We're going to take a phone call about 12:20, so I don't want to miss anything. We'll be right back here at I don't want to miss the phone call. We'll be back here. Don't Hassle Us for Local, ESPN Radio.
This is Lobo from Lobo Salsa. You're listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
What's your car's monthly payment? There's a good chance that First Midwest Bank can lower it. Just like refinancing a mortgage, First Midwest Bank can refinance your auto loan too. That means lower payments, lower interest rates, and higher monthly savings. Plus, you can wait up to 60 days to make your first payment. Go to firstmidwest.com/auto refi to apply and drive down your car payments today. Member FDIC, subject to credit approval, vehicle insurance required.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like you're going 100 miles an hour, barely keeping up. But to cruise through challenges, you need someone who's right there with you. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the tech advice you need to get past whatever's in front of you and get to where you want to go.
Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL and do more with modern devices and Windows 10 Pro.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Changing your oil. We've got what you need. Regular changes are the best way to keep your engine running smooth. We'll help you find the right oil for your make and model and everything to help you finish the job right, like drain pans, filters, and funnels. And we've got more ways to get it all fast, like our next day delivery and our free same-day pickup, in-store or curbside. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
You and your phone have been through a lot this past year. It's been your lifeline to the world. And now some big wireless company is telling you gotta buy a new phone from them and sign their contract? They don't control you. With TracFone Wireless, you can keep the phone, number, and network you already have. Already got a 5G phone? Keep that too. Because TracFone runs on America's best networks now with 5G nationwide. Plus, we've got unlimited talk and text smartphone plans starting at just $20. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. 5G nationwide access requires a 5G capable device. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
For the first time in 25 years, the Doobie Brothers. Tom Johnston, Michael McDonald, Pat Simmons, and John McPhee. 50th Anniversary Tour. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, the Doobie Brothers. With special guest, Dirty Dozen Brass Band. Tax Slayer Center, Saturday, August 28th. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com.
It's time to rise and grind. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin.
I know Brad Pitt from the Hollywood scene in L.A., whatever.
Name
I see
drop.
him. Name drop. I see him, I say hi, whatever. He brings me over into that little section or whatnot. There's a guy with colored glasses on, and he's talking to me, having a conversation with me. And I'm like, oh, yeah. He's telling me, I asked him, what do you do for a living, where you're from? He says, I'm from Ireland. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. What do you do for a living? He says, oh, I'm in the music business, da-da-da. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That's what's up. And so I'm like, oh, you stay, keep your head up. You know, you're going to just keep, man, this thing, I know it's tough, entertainment business, grind it out, the whole deal.
Look at you being motivational.
Brad Pitt goes, hey, man, you ever heard of U2? I'm like, no, I kind of know the group or whatever. He said, that's the lead singer of U2. I'm like, Bono. Oh, okay, all right. But I'm trying to encourage him.
Zero idea who Bono was.
Zero
clue.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Mornings on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
The real estate market is always tough. But this market, it's unlike anything we've ever seen. When the average home stays on the market just 24 days and houses routinely go for more than the listing price, who you work with matters. Realtors have the expertise, local knowledge, and personal touch to give you a competitive advantage throughout the entire home buying process. And that's something an ordinary agent could never do. So make sure your agent is a Realtor. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
This is your home for Cyclone football. We are the Quad Cities Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Hi, this is Derek.
And this is Skip. We are the twins from Arbar Davenport.
And you are listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
On ESPN 1170 AM.
Hey, yo, we're back here in the Hassel Castle, brought to you by iBar and Davenport on Utica. And that was the Twins. You heard them. Yes, before we take a phone call, let's take some of the scores yesterday. Major League Baseball, the Braves went on the road and beat the Baltimore Orioles. We're going to talk about the Orioles later. They are atrocious. They are on pace to lose 108 games or more for the third straight season. It's just awful. Tigers win extra innings against the Blue Jays, 5-3. They won. Reds at home against the Marlins. They won 3-1. The White Sox lost, got shut out against Tampa Bay Rays in Tampa Bay. They lost 9-0. Extra innings. Mariners over the Astros. Brewers beat the Nationals 7-3. Cardinals 3-0 over the Pirates. Adam Wainwright with the win there, 12 wins on the year. Royals beat the Cubs 9-1. Diamondbacks beat the Rockies 8-4. Padres lost at home to the Phillies 7-4. Oakland Athletics and the San Francisco Giants, Battle of the Bay. The Giants beat the Athletics 2-1 in Oakland. Mets and Dodgers. Mets on the road, 7-2 victors. And the Cleveland Indians played host to the Angels and shut them out. They won 3-0. Good to see the Angels that were out there at Little League World Series. Joe Madden was there for a while. And a lot of the players, Mike Trout was there also. I mentioned Baltimore Orioles. They have another 18-game losing streak. So, they are looking awful. And it begs the question, and I put it on Facebook. What they're doing is they're doing a rebuild, and they're doing it kind of like what the Houston Astros did. They are just getting away with talent. They're making big draft picks, and they have the number 2 farm system in according to Baseball America. They have the number 2 farm system because of the draft picks that they have. Plus, they have the number 1 hitter in Adley Rutschman and number 1 pitcher in Grayson Rodriguez. The thing is this. Would you rather your favorite team regularly contend for the championship but never win one, or be terrible for a long time and finally win a title? That's what I'm asking. Because it worked for the Astros. Now, say what you want with the asterisk in 2017, but they got a title, and now they are contenders every year. I mean, they're probably going to win the AL West, and they've been in the playoffs ever since. So it did work out. They've only got one, but then you kind of have the thing like, got your 2016 Cubs. They won one, and I know everyone says, well, we're fine with having one, but there's a lot of Cub fans that are upset that they're doing a fire sale. Looks like it's going to be another rebuild. I don't know how many years it's going to take, but it's an interesting question. Would you rather have a team contend every year and run into the Yankees like the Twins? I don't know. It's frustrating. That's frustrating for me. Or would I rather them go through, be terrible for a while? I don't know. But we'll talk about that and more. We got a phone call here. ESPN 1170 AM.
Hey, what's going on, Jay? This is Adam.
Hey, Adam. How you doing, my man?
Oh, not too bad. What's the good word today?
Not much. Kind of going just tying up loose ends, housekeeping stuff. We had the Northern Trust Open that got moved over to today. We're looking at some of the Major League Baseball. Some things are getting tightened up there race wise, as including like a wild card. Major League Baseball also is like we're talking about. The Orioles are tanking, and they're tanking on purpose. And Major League Baseball is talking about having a $100 million minimum salary. And you have NFL preseason week 2, which was crazy for the favorites. So I guess the whole thing is just bet the dogs. And then finally we had 2 big things going on for professional wrestling with CM Punk coming back to AEW, and we had SummerSlam on Saturday night, not a Sunday night pay-per-view. What's good with you?
Oh, not much, man. Just wanted to say, did you see the news about what's his name? Matt Nagy from Chicago saying that he's going to name Dalton the starter for week 1.
Yeah, I mean, is that a surprise at all? I haven't seen that yet. I mean,
no, I don't think it's a surprise between you and I. I mean, we already talked about how, and I think you're spot on that he's going to come. Fields is going to come in after that stretch of difficult games, kind of where it gets a little easier in their schedule, but. There's a lot of people calling for, Nagy's head right now because they're like, oh, Justin Fields, he looked so great during preseason. Put him in now. Why wait? And to Nagy, to their defense, Nagy did not come out and say things quite as well as he probably should have.
Mm-hmm.
He came out saying that he wanted to see what Dalton had for regular season snaps. And it's kind of like, okay. A couple people were commenting about you've had how many years of Andy Dalton starting snaps? That really doesn't make much sense.
Okay.
He kind of shot himself in the foot.
We are, let's see here. We got this week, and then the 4th, and then the, let's see. So it's kicking off the 11th, right? Yep, kicking off the 12th. 12th.
12th, yeah.
2 preseason games down. First one, he looked great. Dolphins coming into town. Now we have this week. He was 9 for 19, 80 yards. He got sacked twice. He did have a game-high 46 rushing yards, though. That's the thing. The Buffalo Bills have a good defense. They don't have the LA Rams defense.
Correct.
So Bear fans, just dial it back a little bit. You just saw him get sacked twice by the Bills, and who knows if that was a second team. I mean, when he's great, the people that are anti-Fields will just say, like, well, it was against the second team. And the people who are pro-Fields, like, look at what he did. Now you have to do vice versa. I mean, you can't sit there if you're an anti-Bear fan or a Fields fan and say, well, look at what he did, 9 for 19. Then you have to also say, well, who was all starting for the Bills defense, and vice versa. So I think it's fine going. I think it's fine going with Andy Dalton. I mean, just throw him to the Wolves.
I do too. Yep, I do too.
Take the loss either way. That was going to be a loss on the road. It's you know what I'm saying. Worry about the point differential or against common opponents if it comes down to a tiebreaker later.
Yep, I agree 100% on that. And then the other news I got is, did you see the Big Ten announcement about the COVID rule?
I did see that.
They're
yes.
going to do this year.
Which is kind of.
What do you think of that?
What I thought about it was that, and I'm going to pull this up here in just a second. What I thought about it was, all right, what took so long? Because did you see that the MVC, where you and I plays, they came out with something before the weekend. They said that they were going to do the same thing. So let me read this for you real quick. It's a media statement from the Big Ten Conference. From the Big Ten Conference, in collaboration and communication with the Big Ten Conference athletic directors, chancellors, and presidents, the Task Force for Emerging Infectious Diseases and the Sports Medicine Committee, effective today, the conference has determined that if one of its member institutions is unable to play a conference contest due to COVID-19, that contest shall be declared a forfeit and will not be rescheduled. That contest shall be considered a loss for the team impacted by COVID-19 and a win for its opponent in the conference standings. If both of the two competing teams are unable to participate in a scheduled conference competition due to COVID-19 and as a result the competition is unable to occur on the calendar day on which it is scheduled, the competition shall be considered a no contest. So, I just think it's something that needs to be written. I don't know. Now, what we really need to look at is like last year, and we can ask Kaker tomorrow about this. Last year was just say someone on the offensive line got it, the entire offensive line was out. Do you know what I'm saying?
They kind of tiptoed around that. Like, what's the rules going to be? Like, what are they determining is like a forfeit for COVID? Is it a percentage? What is it?
Yeah, like they don't really say like, okay, by COVID protocol, if you're around these people for so long, like what's going to happen. Last year, it was clear. If someone on the line went, the first thing line was done. It was like same thing because they were saying they were in meetings together. You know what? Are you following me, Adam?
Yep.
So they're not saying too much here right now, and I'm even on the Big Ten thing, the conference forfeiture policy. We'd have to look more at how they're going to handle. I think it's one of those things you have to write something. You have to have a plan to be like, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, seriously, if Ohio State gets this or whatever else, they're finding a way to get around it. Oh, it was only the backup QB, and he was never in quarterback meetings. He had class that day. It's all gas. That's what it is. They have to do it.
You're 100% right. It's kind of like last year too. I mean, look at the whole Michigan deal when Michigan Ohio State played, and Michigan didn't have enough players to be able to field a team, and somehow the Ohio State still made it to the Big Ten championship game. It's like, come on now. I agree 100% on that. And the other question I got with the last COVID-related question is, what do you think is going to happen when it comes down to season ticket holders? Do you think – I can't remember if I heard it from you, if I heard it from someone else, that I see the Iowa City mayor has come out and said that he's mandating masks.
Mm-hmm.
How long is it until he starts saying that we're not allowing anybody in the games if you're from an infected county or a county that has spiking rates.
Okay, I thought the same thing. This is what we talked about last week. I was worried about that, but from what I understand, and people on the Harrington's Pub Facebook comment thread can tell me otherwise, from what I understand, that the University of Iowa basically told the mayor, no, we're not following that because it's an enforceable mandate. That's what I understand. Now, if it's not forcible, so what the thing is the mask mandate, but was there anything more out there that says if you don't follow it, X, Y, and Z is going to happen? So are they going to have to go to tailgate and ticket everybody or kick people out? I mean, or is he going to have to say, we're not allowing tailgates? And if the University of Iowa's not on it and they're like, we are, that's the thing. It looks good, but it's not enforceable because it goes against what the governor signed in proclamation, that you can't force people to wear masks. So you can't go against the governor's law. That's where it gets iffy. And I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not someone who sits there and reads all the fine print. I mean, a Miss Bomber to death, she would be able to dissect it in a heartbeat and tell you why you couldn't do it. And I'd love to have someone who's on the other side that sits there and says, well, this is why the mask mandate can work, because each person should make their own decisions, each city or whatever else. But you're right. That was the one thing that worried me the most, that if this was enforceable, that it would be like, well, guess what? Black Hawk County is at this level. Or Calhoun County. I mean, there's 99 counties to go by, and you can't come in from this. And do we start checking that? It gets. I know it sounds absurd, but I think we've been dealing with the absurd, so we have to be prepared for this.
Yes, I agree 100%. And like you said, if it's going to go into effect, there's no way you can have tailgating, period, because there's no way they're going to be able to enforce all that, like double checking all the who's there, what county they're from, so on and so forth. I mean, what's stopping you from forgetting your ID that day or something? There's nothing you can do to enforce that unless you completely get rid of it, which I hope that never happens.
Yeah.
But if they want to go that route, that's the only way I see it being enforceable.
Yeah. What are you going to have? Someone at each of the tailgate spots that you check into, and they just look at your plates because in Iowa they have the counties on them, and be like, nope.
Yeah.
You got to go. Sorry. And then it's just going to, people are just going to park in Coralville, and they're going to jump into another car or whatever else, or they're going to stop at stop through another county. It just seems ridiculous and preposterous. But the thing is like I said, we've been dealing with the absurd. I'm not too, I wouldn't be shocked by any of this. It just.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And you kind of, I mean, let's face it, as much as we all don't want to have to worry about this rule, I mean, there is some good into it. I mean, nobody wants to go out there and get infected and come back and get your family infected from going to a game. I mean, I can understand all that. I don't want to sit here and raise the flag of saying, I'm not anti-mask type deal. I just think that, if you're going to make a rule, make it so you can enforce it. Don't make it so you think you can enforce it, if that makes any sense.
Well, let me put it to you this way, okay? I have a buddy who is employed by the University of Iowa. He has a practice in Iowa City. I can't remember the other thing, probably something, whatever else. And then he has this because he's a season ticket holder. And he lives in Iowa City. How's that? He said, he's like, I have 4 different mask mandates that I have to follow. And he said, I can't do it. He goes, and it's not like he's like, I'm upset, and he's not raising a fit. And he's not being like, this is ridiculous. It was like a legitimate, I can't keep track. I have 4 different mask mandates because when he's on the University of Iowa and he's teaching, he has to do it a certain way. When he's practicing for his dental practice, he has to do it a certain way. I don't know what the other one was, but then, Iowa City, wherever he goes, he has to have one on. So I know it sounds like, well, just wear one everywhere and then you don't worry about it. But it's still everywhere he's getting pulled in different directions, like when it's okay, when it's not. And I think that's where the frustration for a lot of people are, is just like, it just seems like it's only working out at certain times and then they'll change it. And then you have, like I said, we don't know what's going to happen. We're just out. And Kaker's the one that retweeted it, and we'll talk to him tomorrow. He said, this could make things interesting when football starts. When the mayor said, starting at 11:59 on Thursday night and going into August 20th, it's a mask mandate, mandatory. And he just wrote, this should make things interesting because we don't know where we're going. And in this amount of time, they could find a loophole. in the governor's thing. Well, and again, I'm not going to make this a mask thing, but that's how easy it is because they're finding there are school districts that are finding loopholes in and making their kids wear masks. It's already come out. They just have changed the dress code policy. They don't have to go before a school board. They don't have to get voted. They can make a dress code policy in a heartbeat. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they've done that. They've put it part of their thing. I know it's happened in Texas. It was somewhere in California, and I can't remember the other one. I read it just yesterday, and that's the loophole. It's part of their dress code. So they could figure out. There's someone if they really if Iowa City really wants to do it, someone's going to find a loophole. It's just a matter of the main thing that we need to think about is, if you really want to go to the games, you'll wear your mask. Now, I don't know about tailgating. It's an indoor virus. I don't really know if you need to be outdoor. You need to worry about it outdoors or anything like that. But I'm not a scientist, and I'm not here to take a side. People can yell at me all they want and say, "Oh, you're ridiculous," but it gets a little bit crazy, and it's all the
frustrating.
Yeah, it is frustrating because everyone just gets to make up their own rules and say what's best for everything. And it'd be better if it was something we could all figure out. We've had a long enough time. It was just to curb it at one time. Now it's just to constantly. We got different variants and variant plus. Basically, in the end, we just want sports. That's what we want here. That's what you want, Adam, and that's what I want. And it just seems like they're messing with it more and more.
You know what else is frustrating on the frustrating end of this thing is Paul Feinbaum.
Okay.
That drives me insane.
Sure.
He's frustrating. So I was going to talk to you about this, about the whole Big Ten, ACC, and Big 12 meeting. So listening to him talk about that, it really upset me because, once again, he comes to the defense of the SEC. He says that by the Big Ten and the ACC and Big 12 making this meeting, they're going about things all wrong. And you think to yourself, what do you mean by going about it all wrong? The SEC just announced way before that they were going to obtain Texas and Oklahoma. And he's saying that, this is going to ruin the chances of a 12-team playoff. He's saying that the Pac-12 is making a huge mistake making these talks because if they make these talks, the 12-team playoffs is going to be completely erased and eliminated because now you have the Power 4 conferences were being able to get into that tournament. And he said that, do you think that's going to stop two SEC schools still getting in and leaving out a Pac-12 or ACC or a Big Ten? Which you can't 100% disagree, but the way it was just brought upon and how he worded things just really rubbed me the wrong way. Now, it's also saying that, this is all about TV ratings. This is all about getting networks. And then that's why the Oklahoma and Texas, they left. And his main objective is saying that the SEC didn't go looking for Texas and Oklahoma. Oklahoma and Texas called them. And if SEC didn't pick them up or say, sure, yeah, let's look into this, that they would have hung up the phone and then started dialing Chicago saying, hey, we want to run this by you. What do you think? So he's saying that, the Texas-Oklahoma thing, that was just a natural given. Like, they called them. Like, they didn't go after them. But with all this happening, what's the point of the NCAA then? And that's something I wanted to talk to you a long time ago about is that the NCAA then is just non-existent if this goes down. Then it just becomes like a commissioner deal where they just find a commissioner to try to regulate between the two super conferences. Okay,
let's start with first things first. See, Paul Feinbaum, very smart what he does, but he's a company man, and SEC is in bed with ESPN. We all know that, okay? Now, Paul Feinbaum, for as smart as he is, he's not that attractive to look at in the first place, okay? So he's never had that situation where a girl has left their boyfriend to come to him, and when the guy accuses the boy, when the old boyfriend, the ex, accuses the guy, the new beau, the new man in town, and says, like, you stole my girl, and the guy goes, look, I didn't have to do anything. She came to me. She was looking for me, bro. You're mad at the wrong thing. And the guy's like, what? And be like, I didn't do anything. She's the one sending me texts. She's sending me snaps. And he's just saying, like, because I'm just the attractive one. I'm the one that she wants to be with. He's never had that situation in his life. Look at him. So instead, he's taking this situation and saying, like, oh, the SEC never did anything. They came to them. Baloney. I mean, Texas, yes, they have their own network or whatever else, but SEC, the more eyes that they're going to get at, the SEC network's only get bigger, and ESPN as well. I know Bosby seems like he's a, kind of a crybaby, and he's the commissioner of the Big 12, Pac-12. And he's the one that went ahead and he had a cease and desist against ESPN saying like they're the ones that are encouraging this. So, I mean, he's getting involved in stuff as well. But that's ridiculous to just sit there and say like, oh, no, we didn't do anything. They would have called. Maybe they would have. So, like, basically what you're doing is you're just pissing all over the Big 12 is what you're doing, Paul, saying they were going to leave anyway. So the whole thing's getting ripped apart because he's not saying that this alliance is going to hurt whatever else. It was going to happen anyway is what he's saying. So why is he saying not to have this alliance situation? Because it was going. Yeah.
It was going to go ahead and get rid of the chances for the Pac-12 or even the Big 12 to be able to get into the playoffs because it was eliminating any kind of progress or talk for a 14-team playoff.
No, I can't. We had Stocking in here last week, and I argued with him too. That thing is going to expand no matter what. He's out of his mind if he doesn't think it's going to get it to a 12 team. I mean, out of his. Anybody who thinks that this is going to stay at a 4-team because of this alliance thing is crazy. Absolutely crazy. I can say it over and over again, and I'll say it again till it happens and I say I was right. In the history of the NCAA, and we'll talk about the NCAA in just a second because you brought that up. In the history of the NCAA, and I know college football playoff is its own different animal, but in the history of any type of collegiate tournament, the postseason, not conference postseason, but postseason when you're done with conference and conference tournaments, has never stayed the same amount of teams that have been accepted. Not in lacrosse, not in field hockey, not in wrestling, not anything like that. It always grows. It always does. It's all about the money, and it will grow. It point blank into the period. Now, what I see happening, I do think there will be. I like the idea. I think the SEC is going to grow, and then you're going to have this alliance, and I think it's going to end up looking like an AFC-NFC type of thing. You're going to have two different conferences and I'm referring to the NFL, Adam. So I think you will have like two different alliances. I think you will. I think you'll have this big alliance, which is right now it's supposed to be the Pac-12, Big 10, and ACC. And I think the SEC might as well just suck up the Big 12, and then let's see what happens with, your American conferences and everything else. I know that sucks to hear if you're a UCF fan or South Florida fan, but you might be on the outside looking in, and you might go down and play FCS games. I don't have the answers, but I'm just telling you, progress is happening. And the idea that it's just like, well, no, it shouldn't. You guys just stick to the conference, but we're just going to gobble up as much as we can, and they're always going to come looking at us because of the SEC. It drives me nuts. It really does. And I'm going to tell you right now, go look into the future when they have this college football rankings that come out. It's usually about like week 7 or 8 of the season. They're going to be. You're going to hear crying from any SEC fan that there's not 8 out of 10 in from the SEC in the top 10. Period. It's awful. And the thing is they'll probably be 5 because ESPN's one running the show.
You're 100% right. And like you said earlier, it does grow. Look at everybody started talking about super conferences the year that Big Ten picked up Rutgers and Nebraska, and the SEC picked up like Florida and Texas A&M. Like you heard of all that, and I mean the talks started back then. The only difference now is they're actually moving again, getting other teams committed to their conference. And I agree with you. I do see it becoming like an AFC-NFC type deal. And then you got to ask yourself, does the NCAA have anything left? Do you still involve them?
No, they don't. They've got basketball. I mean, seriously. They've got basketball, and then they can hitch their wagon to like the Women's College World Series. The fastest growing revenue sport, but they've got no control. They're spinning right now, and they're just watching and waiting to see what they can do to try to enforce anything. But this name, image, and likeness has just left them reeling, trying to figure it out. They already are going to have a special hearing. I think it's in November, October, and then they want to have their findings by January, like what the future of the NCAA is going to look like. It's a special meeting that's coming up, and they want to figure it out. They're at a loss. It's just kind of like, hey. It passes by, and it's almost a situation like we got away with this long, so now we're gonna have to do something. Like we knew eventually that someone was gonna catch on, but we didn't really prepare for it. So let's just prepare for it before it all crumbles down in front of us.
Oh, exactly. But how long is it going to take them to realize that in basketball also? I mean, let's face it. If it wasn't for the big tournament, what else does the NCAA have?
I don't know.
They have nothing.
No, and they're looking. Now you have to understand that there's those professional leagues that are, getting ready to pay high school kids a ridiculous amount of money to come play for them and get them ready for the NBA. So they've got that coming down the road as well. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were younger, you never heard of guys going overseas and playing, their freshman year of college. Now that's like a common thing. I mean, they go overseas to play, get their year or two in, and then they come back and get drafted.
Well, yeah. To your point, what you're saying is like, let's see, and this is dating ourselves or whatever else. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't around, but you read about it. Lou Alcindor didn't play his freshman year at UCLA because he couldn't. Freshmen didn't play then. And then when the Fab Five came out for Michigan, and they're like, wait a minute, they're starting 5 freshmen, 5 true freshmen. That doesn't happen. That's how much it.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Now we're looking at it. Now we're looking at some 31 years later, and it's a huge deal. So it's a no big deal. 30 because then you have Kevin Garnett doesn't go to high school, neither does Kobe, blah blah. Then they do the one and done, and now we see freshmen play all the time. If they're not playing, even at the University of Iowa basketball, if we don't play freshmen, we're like, what are we doing? They're going to transfer. They're going to go to transfer portal, and that's how much it's come in 31 years. Because before you never saw freshmen, they redshirted, and now they're going to that, and that's just part of progress. It's going to happen. So the NCAA has to get on board, and that's why they're having these meetings.
Yep, I agree 100%.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the phone call. Anything else for me, my man?
No, just waiting to hear when I'm going to get the chance to kick your hiney in fantasy football. I hear that.
We had texts over the weekend trying to figure out the date. I know some people like the 28th. I was saying that before. I was saying it earlier off the air that this is the weekend. It's either this weekend coming up or the next one where most of the drafts are going to be happening. So, we just got to lock down the date. I'm not going to lie. I haven't done much research or whatever else, but I'll do my best. I don't want to come in dead last, but I want to make a showing this year, so I'll get after it though.
All right, man. Well, we'll talk to you later. Have a good rest of your show, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, thanks for the phone call.
Yep. We'll talk to you later.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
All right, that's Adam. Thanks very much for him calling. I appreciate that a lot. It's always good questions, and I didn't even see what some of those were coming, but he was talking about the NCAA, and it is interesting. And the Feinbaum thing I wasn't too familiar with because I just didn't pay too much attention to it. But I looked it up as he was talking. He's right. He basically just kind of, in my opinion, just kind of pissed all over the Big 12 and just said, it was going to happen. They were going to leave somebody, and why? So basically, you're kind of saying it's the Big 12's fault that they wanted to leave, and that is a problem because, he talks college football for ESPN, and you can't sit there and just say that like, well, that's your fault. And I think my analogy is dead on. He's trying to say the SEC is the new boyfriend, the one that the girl goes to, and and the old boyfriend blames it on the guy, and the guy just does this whole, well, it's not my fault, it's hers. When clearly the guy was courting her the entire time, and that's a dated reference, but clearly the guy was like sending her messages as well. Not if for those out there who's ever watched Outer Banks, this is classic John B. and Topper. So, and there's my pop culture reference for the day. All right. We will be right back. Don't hassle us. We're local. I do have a trivia question for you, though, before we go to break. It's a Major League Baseball trivia question. Let's see here. Okay. No, I'm sorry. It's not that. It's a NFL quarterback trivia question. I do have an MLB one. All right. So the 49ers' top 2 QBs, and this should be easier for us. The 49ers' top 2 QBs, Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance, both played FCS football. Where did they go to college? So that's your trivia question for today. 49ers top 2 QBs, Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance, both played FCS football. We will be right back. ESPN 1170 AM. Don't hassle us. We're local.
Like that. Give me a hell yeah. I said give me a hell yeah.
This is Merrick Brave from SCW Pro, and you are listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
The granddaddy of them all, the 67th Annual O'Reilly Auto Parts World Series of Drag Racing returns to Cordova International Raceway. Feel the thunder of Top Fuel dragsters and nitro funny cars. Meet the legendary Big Daddy Don Garlitz and Arnie the Farmer Bestwick. Discounted tickets available at participating O'Reilly Auto Parts stores or online at racecir.com. Don't miss the biggest motorsports event of the year, the 67th 67th Annual O'Reilly Auto Parts World Series of Drag Racing, August 27th through the 29th at Cordova International Raceway.
Over the past few years, people in the Quad Cities have been buying online more and more. Now, since the pandemic hit, online sales have absolutely skyrocketed. Having an online presence was important before, but now it's an outright necessity. But don't worry, MyLocalCustomers.com is here to help. All you need to do is go to MyLocalCustomers.com to receive a free competitive analysis to see what Town Square Media can do for you. We'll help you find more local customers online and help grow your business faster. Town Square offers premium website services that get you new leads every day, plus a dedicated marketing specialist who will work with you the whole time, so you don't have to mess with updating a website. It's fast and easy with no contracts, so you can cancel at any time. Be one of the first to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising on ESPN 1170 AM. As a business owner, you know how hard it is to get people to cross a bridge to get to your business. These days, they don't need to. Find your customers and keep your customers. Go to MyLocalCustomers.com.
Benito's line cook just threw in his kitchen towel.
This order needs to go out right now.
He needs to find help before his customers are left waiting.
So sorry. We'll be right with you. Who's got table 6?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You and your phone have been through a lot this past year. It's been your lifeline to the world. And now some big wireless company is telling you got to buy a new phone from them and sign their contract? They don't control you. With TracFone Wireless, you can keep the phone, number, and network you already have. Already got a 5G phone? Keep that too. Because TracFone runs on America's best networks now with 5G nationwide. Plus, we've got unlimited talk and text smartphone plans starting at just $20. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. 5G nationwide access requires a 5G capable device. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Like Summer Fridays? Well, you're going to love Summer Mondays at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. With BetMGM's Money Monday Club, a $10 free bet will automatically be added to your account when you place a total of $50 in wagers between Monday and Sunday. That's right, you'll wake up to a $10 free bet every Monday just for betting $50 during the previous 7 days. It's easy. Simply take advantage of BetMGM's boosted odds specials, unique parlay offers, daily promotions, and live betting action. When your wager total reaches $50, you're guaranteed to receive a $10 free bet to use any way you'd like it. Download the BetMGM app or go to BetMGM.com to sign up and learn more about how you can be a part of the Money Monday Club. Get rewarded for every bets every week at BetMGM. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 or older. Iowa only. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
I'm Ryan Radke with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Titans head coach Mike Vrabel told reporters Sunday that he tested positive for COVID-19. Vrabel will quarantine and follow the league's COVID-19 protocols before he can return to the sidelines. Elsewhere in the division, Colts head coach Frank Reich revealed that quarterback Carson Wentz is expected to practice today in a limited fashion. Wentz underwent a foot procedure on August 2nd and was given a 5 to 12-week timeline to return. Meanwhile, Big Blue is getting a big boost. Saquon Barkley is expected to participate in joint practices with the Patriots this week. That according to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. Speaking of the Giants, they lost to the Browns on Sunday 17-13 in Week 2 preseason action. And 49ers rookie quarterback Trey Lance threw for 102 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick in the 49ers 15-10 win over the Chargers on Sunday night. Jimmy Garoppolo started the game but was picked off by Chargers rookie corner Asante Samuel Jr. in his only offensive series. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
When you're ready to buy something, the first thing you do is go online. But buying a home is different. You've got loan applications, pre-approvals, competing offers, the list goes on. That's where a Realtor comes in. Realtors have expertise and local knowledge to give you a competitive edge that a search bar just can't. And in today's market, an edge is what you need. So when you're ready to buy a home, the first thing to do is make sure you have an agent who's a Realtor. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Welcome to a place where everyone deserves to be better protected, where technology has your back, where you can have better protection and keep more money in your pocket, where you can have protection for your car, your home, your phone, and even your digital identity. Welcome to a place where your entire life can be better protected. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Allstate and affiliates offer products and services subject to availability, terms, and conditions.
When you're listening to the best sports talk, you know you found your sports leader. ESPN 1170 AM.
Hi, this is Derek.
And this is Skip. We are the twins from our bar Davenport.
And you are listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
On ESPN 1170 AM.
Makes me laugh every time. Hi, welcome back. Don't Hassle Us, We're Local here on ESPN 1170 AM. You heard it from the twins. Some other news out there. Well, thanks, Adam, for the phone call. The trivia question. 49ers quarterbacks Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo both played FCS football. Where did they go to college? I think you guys all know this. You should at least. North Dakota State and Eastern Illinois is where Jimmy G went. This day in history, Major League Baseball, August 23rd, 1936, was Iowa's own Bob Feller's first start. 85 years ago today, Indians rookie Bob Feller struck out 15 batters in his first career start. A complete game 4-1 victory over the St. Louis Browns, now known as the Baltimore Orioles. Talk about them in just a minute. He was just 17 years old, the young Feller was. And I don't say it like Feller, Bob Feller. And while he was firing fastballs against some of his childhood heroes that were up to bat, his friends back home in Iowa were getting ready for, you guessed it, their senior year of high school. Congratulations to all those kids who went back to school today. My kids went back to school today. You'd never know it because I didn't post it on social media. Congratulations to everyone who felt that they needed to do that today. I don't know why, but they woke up and they're like, gosh darn it all, I'm not going to make it today if I don't post a photo of a kid's first day of school on social media. So congratulations to everyone who made sure that they made it through the day, or else they would suffocate by not posting their kids' photos on there. Yep, so while he was throwing fastballs 85 years ago, they were getting ready for their senior year. Bob Feller was an 8-time All-Star. He's also a Hall of Famer. And he would have won a Cy Young or two if the award had existed before his final season in 1956. His 266 wins are 37th most overall. And he's just one of just a handful of pitchers to toss 3 no-hitters. Would he have had more? Probably. He lost 3 prime years from 23 to 25 because World War II. Also in his career, he led Major League Baseball in innings pitched 5 times, strikeouts 7 times, and won the 1940 pitcher's version of the Triple Crown. 27 wins, 2.61 ERA, and 261 strikeouts. Congratulations to Iowa's own Bob Feller, and thanks to Brian Stocking, who pointed out that they didn't list that on Fox Sports of famous Iowans when they did the Field of Dreams game. I mentioned the Orioles because right now they're in the midst of one of the worst stretches in baseball history. And the crazy thing about this is everything is going according to plan, I guess, is what the Orioles front office wants you to believe. This is an aggressive rebuild under general manager Mike Elias. And he's trying to do, and I said this at the beginning of the hour, we're trying to do what Houston did last decade, where, go figure, he was an assistant GM. So for those who need the reminder, the Astros stripped down the organization and rebuilt it from the ground up. The general manager had of the Astros at the time, not there anymore, had a meeting of season ticket holders and told them, trust the process. Not like the 76ers process, but trust me, it's going to be bad. And if you don't want to be a season ticket holder, I don't blame you, but I want you to stay on board. It is going to be awful. So the Astros, they built it from the ground up. They invested in player development. They acquired stars with high draft picks. And spending very little money on big league contracts. Fans were upset. Between 2011 and 2013, the Astros only averaged 54 wins per season. But when the team was finally ready to contend, they spent money on players, and in 2017, 6 years after the rebuild began, Houston won its first World Series. I told you this earlier. that they do have the number 2 farm system. They are currently, MLB team is the version of this is a dumpster fire. It's a disaster, but the future looks bright. Number 2 farm system, number 1 hitter, number 1 pitcher. They are right now 38-85. They are on pace to lose 108 games for the 3rd straight season. The last team to do that was the 1962-1965 Mets. Earlier this month, Major League Baseball owners proposed adding a $100 million salary minimum for teams, which would force non-contending clubs to spend and prevent from tanking. Not a bad idea. Just for a reference, by the way, 40 individual Major League players will make more money this season than the entire Orioles' 26-man roster, being paid a grand total of $19.5 million. We know tanking in the NBA, but this has certainly happened in Major League Baseball. They get a top draft pick, and then that player spends years in the minors, and then finally, after a while, they get pulled up in early May and have 5 months to go because of that Super 2 thing. NBA, at least you get to see those picks like the next year. It's tough. The question is, what would you rather have? Would you rather have your favorite team regularly contend for championships but never win one, or be terrible for a long time and finally win a title? I don't know. It's pretty brutal if you're an Orioles fan, to be honest with you. You can't really sit there and say like that you're fine with 3 weeks you haven't seen a victory, and it's been 3 weeks. So, I mean, in the same season, and as far as this one's going right now, they've lost their 18 games in a row. 17 of those losses have been by double digits. They've been outscored by 102 runs. They're the first team in American League history with 2 losing streaks of 13 or more games in a season. Absolutely brutal. Awful. All right, NFL preseason week 2 is in the books. Wasn't too pretty for gambling-wise if you liked it. It's good for Vegas because the majority of people are going to take the favorites. So it's but not a lot of teams covered. And I know I said like that some of the teams I like that to cover where the money was at, following the pros didn't happen, especially like the Bears. I thought that was going to be completely different. Well, it didn't. So some of the winners over the weekend: Ben Roethlisberger threw 2 TD passes and posted a perfect 158.3 QB rating. He was 8 for 10, 137 yards. And that's his first game while operating new coordinator Matt Canada's offense. I know we said this earlier in the couple weeks ago. Matt Canada's offense could be something. It's something to keep an eye on when you're looking at the Steelers. It was reported that their old offensive coordinator who got let go was more of like a, I don't want to say drinking buddy, but just he was buddy-buddy with Roethlisberger, and kind of it wasn't a coach quarterback rapport. It was more like, hey, we're friends, right? So just do what I say, and it kind of just went that way. Other news: Larry Fitzgerald says that he might be done with the NFL. Doesn't know how much he's going to play, but he says he says he might come back if he has the urge, but right now he doesn't have it. He's looking at the booth. We know that. Mike Vrabel tested positive for COVID-19. All right, so it's reported today that for Indianapolis Colts, and this is just news and tidbit from around preseason week 2 and what we know today, that Carson Wentz coming back much earlier than the 5 to 12 week prognosis that he had. The Colts won their second game of preseason over the weekend, and basically it's a 2-person job for just the backup. Jacob Eason and Sam Ehlinger are fighting for it. So then we have the Biscuit Bowl, Mitchell Trubisky. He led his team to a 34-6 halftime lead, and he passed for 221 yards and a score. So, I mean, he didn't say too much. He didn't seem bitter or whatever else. I mean, his other comments have been like, it feels good to be part of a program that he feels wanted, and he knows the direction. That's what he said about the Bills, was a little shot at the Bears. But as far as the player goes, he said it felt good to do it against these guys, but I'm also rooting for a lot of those guys on the other side, and they're still like family to me. So the Ravens, and Adrian said, bet the Panthers. They covered spread. They beat the Carolina Panthers 20-3. They have won 19 consecutive preseason games, matching a mark from 1959 to 1962. And that was Vince Lombardi's Packers. Teddy Two Gloves says that he wants that starting job, and he went out and showed it. He was efficient, 9 for 11, 105 yards, and Denver's 30-3 beating of the Seahawks. We said that was going to happen as well. We said bet that one. Cam Newton is out for 5 days because of a COVID protocol, something that he said is just a misunderstanding. On Thursday night, he looked pretty well, but so did Mac Jones. So, let's see. Anything else out there? Notes here, tight end fantasy pool. If you haven't participated in your fantasy football draft yet, the tight end position looks pretty thin behind Travis Kelce, Raiders' Darren Waller, and 49ers' George Kittle. But there's some guys that you should be looking at as for potential sleepers. Veteran Kyler Kroft of the Jets and rookie Pat Freiermuth of the Steelers both caught a pair of TDs while working with their team's respective starting quarterbacks. So file those names away. Other things out there, not too much. I mean, you don't really want to post too much about the losers. Jamar Chase had a pretty rough day. 3 targets, 3 drops, all on third down. He was the number 5 pick of the draft. Zach Wilson didn't look too good there. We already mentioned Justin Fields. He was 9 for 19, only 80 yards, and he got sacked twice. Kyler Murray says he doesn't really care too much about the preseason, so he led the offense to -1 yard and 3 drives on Friday. It was his first game action of the month. So not too good there. That's what's going on around there. And NFL, we'll keep an eye on what's going on with the Northern Trust Open also. We are going to call this a short day today because I have things to do. And, you guys don't just want to listen to me. You guys can listen to the Talking Heads as well. The games today, one's going on right now in Major League Baseball. I'm not done yet, though. Major League Baseball started at 12:10, and you can go and do in-game lines at Texas at Boston. Now the rest are all night games. Arizona's at Pittsburgh. The White Sox are in Toronto. Lance Lynn's going to be on the mound, 10-3 on the year, 2.26 ERA. Yankees in Atlanta are going to have a series start, 6:20. Cubs are going to play host to the Rockies. Kyle Hendricks, 14-5, 4.04 ERA. 2 more games on the slate. Royals at Houston, 7:10, and Seattle at Oakland. Happy birthday to Mike Yastrzemski and Tyler Glasnow. Tomorrow, Tom Kakert's going to be in. We're going to talk over-unders when it comes to the Big Ten, and we're going to talk about Iowa football. Get your questions ready. Wednesday, we're going to talk to Emily Van Buskirk, and we're going to do the same thing about Pac-12. Maybe we'll reach out and find some people in the Big 12. We just need to get out there and take a look at what some future bets out there and what we should be looking for because the college football season is less than 2 weeks away. Actually, faster than that. There's going to be 5 games this weekend, so we're just days away. So that's a Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, we're off because of White Sox, and we'll figure out the rest from there. All right, we will see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy yourselves, Quad City. Stay dry, stay out of the humidity, have fun, and happy first day of school to everybody that's out there in social media land. I will see you guys tomorrow.
Hey, this is Goose, PA announcer for the Quad City Storm, and you're